let me hear some of your music with these handmade drums with the goat skins. I got free stuff. Who doesn't like free stuff? So two producer friends were in a bar and they hadn't seen each other in a long time, and they were hanging out and catching up, and one producer says to the other, says, hey man, I have this new drum sample pack, and it's really awesome, and I'll give it to you if you want it. And the other producer says, oh man, you know, thanks so much, but I don't really use samples anymore like that in my music. And the other producer says, oh, well, that's cool, man. So what do you do? And he says, well, the thing was, it's like, you know, I felt like that really wasn't that authentic. So I just started making my own samples with my drum machines, and then I used that. I was like, oh, yeah, man, that's cool. So how's that working out? And he says, well, the thing is, I felt like that wasn't too authentic because, you know, it's like all my drum machines are like new drum machines. They're like the Electrons and the Vermona and all this, and really those are just kind of variations and emulations of the real drum machines, the original drum machines, like the 808, Roland 808, 909, 606, and I don't know, I just felt like it wasn't really authentic. Those were just kind of, yeah, so you know, I sold all those, and then I bought all the original drum machines, the vintage ones, the 808, the 909, 606, and so I started using that. And the other producer's like, man, those are really expensive, those things, and there's a lot of maintenance. So are you happy with those? Is that working out? I was like, well, you know, the thing about that was I started to feel like that wasn't very authentic, because really those drum machines were made to like replicate a real drummer. And, you know, they're kind of fake in that way, artificial. So what I did was I started learning to play the drums. I bought myself a drum set. I started taking drum lessons. I was practicing like 8 hours a day, making my own loops, and that's how I was doing it. The other producer's like, wow, man, that's amazing. That's real dedication. And so that's how you do it now, huh? You just sample your own drums, make your own loops, and do it this way. I was like, well, yeah. The only thing about that is like, well, you know, I'm using these store-bought drums, and really they're like, you know, kind of a facsimile of like real drums that were made by hand and all this, and I don't know, I just started to feel like those weren't very authentic. It wasn't like real drums, it was like just these, you know, manufactured kind of things that were an emulation of like what was real drums. So then I started making my own drums out of logs, and that went okay, but then the problem was, you know, the drum heads. Like, I mean, to have real drum heads on it, like that's like animal skin. So I bought a little farm and got some goats and started raising goats so that I could make my goat skin drum heads to put on the drums that I made by hand out of hollowed out logs. And I'm gonna make making my samples from that. And the other producer's like, wow, dude, that is really cool, man. I gotta hear it. I gotta hear this. Let me hear some of your music with these handmade drums with the goat skins. This is amazing. I can't believe it. And the other producer's like, well, I'll let you know when I've got some, man. I don't have a whole lot of time for music, you know, what with goat farming and all. So anyway, do you use samples? Let me know in the comments. I actually really like sample packs. I've got a whole bunch of different sample packs from all over the place. And I rarely make a whole piece of music with just samples. I'm not sure if I've ever done that, although I wouldn't be opposed to it. But they're really useful for a lot of different applications. And so for free, like I said, is the first sample pack I'm releasing. And these are all samples from my album, The Slow Dance. And these samples in particular are from the first track, Slow Dance #1. And they're all taken from elements of the track. So we've got one shots. What else have we got? We've got long loops, stems. Those are like 2 to 3 minute drum, synth, strings, bass effects. We've got drum loops and percussion. These are the multi-track stems, kick, snare, open closed hi-hats, toms, percussion. We've got one shots. I always really like the one shots because then you can load those into your sampler and just do it however you like. One shots of single drum hits, percussion hits, synth stabs, strings, bass effects, all this kind of stuff. We've got risers, textures, sound design, elements, noise, and there's like some horns and organs and even a few vocal things in there. And over the course of the next few weeks, I'm going to release 5 different sample packs, and these all will be sourced from the 5 tracks on Slow Dance. So this is the first one, and then the next one will come from track 2 on Slow Dance. And the cool thing about this is, in addition to the free sample pack, there is a downloadable PDF of my zine instructional manual called Playbook: Elemental Techniques and Direct Strategies for Music Making. And the thing about this is that there are 3 different ways of making music, techniques, that 2 of which I used on the Slow Dance, which is time warp, space-time, and the cycle of indeterminacy. Space-time is recipe 2 in Playbook, and the cycle of indeterminacy is recipe 1 in the Playbook. And there's one more recipe in here as well, and it kind of goes through it step by step of exactly how you can go about making some music using these techniques. And so what you could do is you download the free sample pack, download the PDF, and try it out, see what you think. All right, so these will be available on my Patreon for free, and then a few weeks later the sample pack and the PDF will be on my Bandcamp. So let me know in the comments what you think, and go download the sample pack and try it out. All right, as always, thanks for listening, and if you found this content useful, do consider joining me over at my Patreon. Your support there is most appreciated. You can sign up and get a lot of free stuff, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications, and thanks so much for watching. See you next time.